it's interesting as I've been listening to the show. I know that you guys are talking a lot about sort of these pitfalls, right? These things that you don't see coming, these blind spots. And I actually think this story is perfect to talk about those, right? And that's because sometimes the obvious thing to do isn't the right thing to do. And sometimes the thing that just feels natural to do isn't the right thing to do. And this story basically is a highlight of that. So the backstory of it is that when I graduated high school, I got all these gifts, and you wanted the ones that were in an envelope because it had money. But the neighbor gave me a book, of all things. You give a high school senior a book. But it was a Peace Corps manual, because this was his man's guide to life, right? He didn't go to college. He went to the Peace Corps. And over the years, it's become really personal to me. It's almost like my blanket. And so, but on page 142 is my favorite story. Now, understand that the Peace Corps manuals, it's kind of like a Boy Scout manual, right? It's got stuff like how to build an igloo, and how to get water out of a cactus, and how to rub sticks together to make a fire, and stuff like that, right? And so, but on page 142, it's how to survive an attack from an anaconda. Now, I thought I knew how to survive an attack from an anaconda, and that is to run. Right? So
run. Yes.
You're right. But what it tells us is sometimes the right thing to do isn't the obvious thing to do. And I think that's what you guys are all talking about today on the show, is that sometimes you got to be thankful. You got to be thinking about things that really maybe aren't as obvious, right? That you just need to think about. And so here's how the story goes. Imagine that you've been working all day doing God's work, and you just can't wait to get back to your tent for a little bit of pork and beans by the fire. You're 100 feet from your tent, and out of the tree drops a 38-foot, 750-pound anaconda.
Done.
Do you do? Okay, so if you don't faint, what most people say is they run, but that's the wrong answer, right? Here is what it is. Now, I'm reading this to you because it's so ridiculous. It's also kind of funny, but it's ridiculous, but it's the right way to do it. And then what we'll do is we'll pull it back, and it has a great moral to it, a great lesson to it. So here's how it, just word for word. The first line of the manual says, if attacked by an anaconda, do not run. The anaconda is faster than you. That's true. It can move at 6 miles an hour through the bush. You cannot. So if you try to run, as an ambush predator, it will track you down, wrap you up, and swallow you whole. That is a bad result. So don't do that. So what do you do? Here's what it says, word for word. Quote, lie flat on the ground. Do not panic. The anaconda will begin to climb all over your body. Be calm. Now, who had that idea? Like, just show of hands. Who thought, like, maybe I'll lay down and let the snake crawl over me, right? Oh. Now, what's weird about this is it not just tells you what to do, but how to feel, right? Don't panic, be calm. And that's largely because this is weird. Okay, it gets worse. After the anaconda, this is a quote from the manual, after the anaconda has examined you, it will begin to swallow you, beginning with your feet. Be calm. Now, there's a big assumption here. The assumption is that it starts with your feet, not your head, right? Yeah. So what's the deal with that? Well, most of us, our ankles are thinner than our shoulders, and snakes like us want an appetizer, and so it wants to start with the smaller piece and work its way up to sort of the main course, right? And so it starts with your feet. Okay, here's the next one. Is a quote, when the anaconda is almost fully, skip the line. The anaconda will suck your feet into its body. Be still. I love that line. This will take a long time. Listen, do you think swallowing you whole is easy? No. Listen, stop wiggling. Be still. Think of your happy place. Read a book. Take a nap. Whatever, right? But just be still. It will go a lot faster if you just be still. Quote, when the anaconda's almost fully swallowed your legs, calmly remove your knife and kill the snake. After all, your legs are crammed down its throat. What can it do? You just reach down, grab your knife, kill the snake, cut it off, wiggle the snake down like a skirt, and then walk to camp. But the last line is classic. It's classic. The last line is, be sure to have your knife. Because if you don't have the knife, well, you're pretty much going to get swallowed. And so the point of the story is, it's 2 points. Number one is, you'd never think of that. like you'd never think of that. And the key is you have to have a plan before the snakes show up. You see, once the snakes show up, and then you're like, oh, I need a plan, you're probably not going to do very well, right? You're going to have emotion. You're going to react. It's too late. The key is you got to know what to do before the snakes show up. And here is in the world of sort of finance, in the world of the markets, you guys know this better than me. There's snakes out there all the time. Like, it's always out there, right? And so you got to have a plan, knowing that you got to know how to react to whatever's going to be thrown at you. And just this year is unlike any other. You know, the world's longest expansion we've ever had in the United States, a really good economy, comes to a screeching halt overnight. Hit a tree. You know, just literally our economy hit a tree. And that's how fast it can come. The question is, do you have a plan? And if you don't, well, then, you know, you're going to be in trouble.